Hey, Shalom family. So when we enter into this walk with the Most High, it is something where the Most High is not coming into our life to revamp it or to, fix our life up and make our life better, or to come and hang out in our situations and just kind of help us navigate. A lot of people have this concept of, acknowledging the Creator and, giving him praise and thanks for the good things that he does, and seeking him in prayer when things are not right. And that's kind of the extent of the relationship. But with the Most High, he's not coming into our situation to help us negotiate our situations. He's coming for us to go. He's coming to establish a covenant. And when you enter into that covenant, the terms of the covenant is for you to go, enter into his house, enter into his kingdom, enter into his domain. Turn from your path and now walk on his path. You're repenting and turning away from your path and walking onto his path. So nothing that we have is salvageable. It's not a revamp. It's a complete demolition. It's an uprooting that's happening, because we are up until the Most High renews us, we are rooted and grounded in a tree that's dying, that's decaying. The soil is no good. The tree is no good. The ground, the foundation is no good. So he's coming to establish us in something that is life. The Most High is life. He's eternal. He's from everlasting to everlasting. So he's coming to bring us into that space of everlasting, that space of life. So he's bringing us out of darkness to light. He's bringing us from death to life. So there's nothing in death that he can use. There's nothing in darkness that he's going to use. He's going to establish you. When somebody's planting something that they want to grow and be successful, if you want it to be a successful crop, it has to be the right type of soil. The soil has to be right. You can't have weeds and thistles and thorns and different things in the soil that's going to choke out the harvest. So the Most High is not going to come and plant in our soil. He's not going to come in. You're not going to build a house on a faulty foundation. He's building something that's going to be everlasting. Has to be built with everlasting, eternal things. So he's not using any of what we have. When we're going with the clothes on our back, he's not taking anything with him. He's going to reestablish us on a firm foundation of his word, his spirit, his truth. And he's going to uproot us and tear down everything in us that is contrary. He's going to take us through the refiner's fire to refine us and purify us. Everything that is not of life is going to be burnt off. Everything is going to be burnt off that is not of life. It's going to be consumed. So, and everyone's going to go through this process of it's a judgment. You can go through it now in a process where he's going to build something up in you that will sustain. He's going to build up everlasting, eternal things of life in you, so that at judgment you will sustain. You'll be sustained. You'll have life to carry you through. You'll have the right garment that's going to sustain the fire. Or if you don't go through it, you're gonna all be a loss. So we go through this process now, or we can go through it later. If we go through it now, we have the opportunity to begin to become clothed in garments that are going to sustain us into everlasting life, right? But if we don't go through this process, our death is not going to sustain his fire when it comes, right? So this is what the Most High is bringing us into. He's bringing us into a process of refinement and purification, where we now divorce ourselves from everything that was prior to, and we become into something new. Just like when you get married, you're coming into a covenant. Your spouse does not want a part of you. That you are coming into an agreement. You come and you're negotiating an agreement to where now you are going to be one. There's no more you separate, them separate. You're coming to be one. You're coming to a oneness. You're going to build a house together on a new foundation that is between the two of you. And your spouse, you want all of each other. You want to become one. There's no partiality with that. So the Most High says, I want you to love me with your whole heart, your whole mind, your whole soul, your whole being, your whole strength. He is one. He wants us to come into that oneness. And there's nothing else outside of that. You don't date the Most High. It's a marriage. It's a covenant, right? You're not dating and giving them a little bit, and then you go back into your own home. You're coming into a oneness, right? All of you has to go. So in that, a lot of people have the misconception that the Most High just wants to come in and, you just pray, give praise, give thanks, and you just give him a little, little part here, a little bit there, a little bit here. And the Most High is okay with that. We haven't yet entered into a covenant if the Most High can only have a portion of you. If you only allowed him in 10% or 15%, then all you have is, that's like going out into the rain with only, your arm covered. You're going to be soaked. It's like going to a fire and you have a fireproof on your hands, and that's it. Well, your hands will be safe and everything else is going to be consumed in the fire. So the Most High does not desire a part of us or a piece of us, because he is eternal, he's everlasting, he's life, and he's building a people that are life, that are carriers of that life. He's giving us the opportunity to eat from the tree of life. Okay, he's giving us his spirit. He's writing his word, his instructions, his teaching, his ways within our hearts and our minds, so that we can walk that out. And he's empowering us through his spirit that he's given us to activate that word, right? And he sent Yahushua the Messiah to be able to negotiate that covenant with us, to bring us into that covenant. He comes and breaks bread with us to secure the covenant with us, and to give us the surety of that covenant. So now we enter into that space. So he doesn't come for us to stay, it's to go. He told Abraham, okay, now leave and go to the place I'm going to show you. So we all have to leave. We got to leave behind all the lies that we've inherited, all of the darkness that we've inherited, all of the lack of understanding, every way, every tradition, every mindset, every activity, every part of our culture, that we've inherited, every desire, that is contrary, everything. We have to know that everything has to go through the fire. We don't get to select and to keep most of our life to ourselves, and we live our own lifestyle, live our own way, think our own way, operate our own way, and still think that the Most High is okay with that, because he's not. What marriage is okay with two people doing separate things, and building separate foundations. That's not a marriage. You're building one foundation. So we have to come into his way, and we have to know that every way of ours has to be challenged. Every way has to be challenged, and we have to submit. So that's what worship is. It's the submission. It is the lifting of our hands in surrender. It is the bowing of our knee to his kingship, and allowing him every way in us that's contrary to be thrown down, so that he can be risen up, so that his image can be reflected on the earth through us, right? So that his ways can be. So we're saying we're bowing down to his ways, and throwing down and casting down everything that's contrary to that. So this is the process. So don't be deceived or misconstrue the idea. So everyone has a choice, right? So if you choose to say, hey, I acknowledge that there's a creator, and I give him praise, and you live your life in enjoyment of, because the rain falls on the just as well as the unjust. He's given us so much to enjoy in his life, and to be able to engage with in his life, And you can give him praise for that, and you can acknowledge that, and you can even, cry out in despair at times, or whatever the case may be. But that is not entering into a covenant. That is what is common to man. But when you enter into a covenant, there's no longer you holding on to what you think is good, what you think is right, what you think is okay. It is letting it all go and knowing that he's going to come inside through his spirit. He's going to write his ways on your heart. And the things that you thought were okay, the things that you thought were upright, you're going to learn what is good, what is clean, what is right. Every way has to be challenged and brought through the fire. And we have to consciously know that we have inherited mostly darkness. Everything that we've inherited is any other than the seeds that he sprinkled onto us to get us to this point. All the other things of this life are twisted, they're perverted, they're darkness, there's veils over it. So we have to know that, we have to be conscious of that, so that we can know that we have to take everything through the fire. It doesn't matter what we were taught by our leaders or by our parents or by the people around us, what we've picked up, what we thought. His spirit is going to test all of every way, every thought, every practice, every desire, every intention. His word is going to divide asunder every thought, motive, intention of the heart. It's going to test you in the ways that no other person may not know your motives and your intentions, but the Most High does, and his spirit is going to check you on those things, those inner things that you have to be sensitive to him doing that, and surrendering to that, and responding to that. So he desires truth in the inward parts, his truth, not our idea of what it is. So we have to surrender ourselves to this process day by day. The Most High, he takes you on this journey, but he empowers you through it. He don't want you taking he not bringing a U-Haul. You got to go, but he'll leave the clothes on your back until he changes that too. You can walk and go with the shoes and the clothes that you have on, and as you go, he will re-outfit you, as you're going, but we don't get to dwell and stay in this familiar place. We have to go and we have to walk. We're not walking with him unless we are moving step by step by step by step by step. We're not walking with him unless we're on his path, because he doesn't come to our path. He comes and gets us and puts us on his path. So we have to know that every way, everything that we have inherited from this world, we take for granted that the fact that the things of this world we've inherited are just the way that things are. But he's challenging us to come into his every way. There's ways that we know. We're much more familiar with right and wrong when it comes to dealing with man. We usually know when we're doing somebody wrong. Usually, there's ways about that we still have to be refined on and tested on. But sometimes we know that it's wrong to kill somebody. We know that it's wrong to steal from somebody. If you have some type of moral compass. But when it comes to what offends the Most High, we don't necessarily have a consciousness of that. We have to learn. We have to learn through his word what he considers clean and unclean, what he considers righteous and unrighteous, how he defines justice in dealing with each other. What his way, his perception is of love and right doing. So we have to be taught. We have to allow him to write his ways in our heart and change us, give us the fruit, as we attach to him, as we leave, and that tree is uprooted. Whenever we are rooted into this new tree, and as we grow, now we're able to bear the fruit of that tree, the fruit that brings forth life, not that just brings forth things that are good, but that brings forth life. Okay, so don't have the misconception that we can just sit back and allow the Most High to just come in and, we use him the way that we use him. That's not how this works at all. It's not how this works at all. So let him bring you into everlasting life. Let him bring you into what is eternal, so that, and allow yourself to go through the process of refining while he's walking it with you, while he's purifying you as a relationship with him in covenant, so that by the time judgment comes, you've been outfitted in something that's going to sustain the fire, and you're not outfitted in something that's going to burn and take a loss. So that's all, family. Shalom.